put in some storage in the 60s. We put up 10,000 bushel bins. That was a pretty good sized bin for that
Back
time.
in the day.
It's little now, but we still use them. We're not using them, but the guy that rents our land in the Highland, what we call Highland. This is Highland. This is called a Mason Ridge. This is windblown soil.
Okay.
And it's about 5 or 6 inches deep. Basically, the topsoil is not very deep. But
Right.
you can build topsoil. We figured out through the years how to do that. But anyway, out here in a little while we'll lose elevation. This is about 71 or 72 feet elevation, and the land out in Louisville is about 60 to 63, 64 feet elevation. You'll see. But anyway, there's getting to be a little more and a little more. The reason we put in storage is when you're hauling your grain to the elevator at the peak of harvest, there'll be a lot of
You
trucks
wait
down
all
Mile Long,
day.
and you can't own enough trucks to store your crop. You'll send a truck to the elevator at 10
It'll
in
be
the
gone
morning.
all
You'll
day.
get back at 5 in the afternoon, and you can't run your combine all day because you don't have a place to
Yeah.
dump your corn.
Yep.
With your own tank, you can dump your corn and
You can
your
keep moving.
combine running all day.
Yep.
Pure and simple. That's why we put in storage, and more people are finally figuring out you can't own enough trucks to put all your crop on. You gotta haul them out there and empty them, bring them back empty, and fill them up again.
Those
But anyway,
combines will move fast if you've got good weather and everything. They will move fast if you let them.
yes, absolutely. There's a line of modules right yonder. That's
Yeah.
a 4-bale module. 4 bales back in each one of those little yellow modules. We'll see some other lines out here. Some lines a lot longer than they have to take not hauled out. But like I say, they've managed to get them to a hard place, to a good
Yeah.
road where they can get them out in a rainy weather. We're off into Louisville now. I can tell you that we gradually lost about 8 or 10 feet of elevation. These are not all gumbo soils, but
They're
call a
heavy
heavy
soils.
mix. It's bordering on gumbo soils, but as you get a little further this way, they get a little heavier. And we have a good bit of chalky clay on ours, which is the heaviest clay. A high percentage of clay. This field right here is pretty much clay, and the further you go south and east, the more clay it gets. But it's a big, nice field. But with heavy rains, the back side of this field will go underwater and stay for 2 or 3 days.
Is there a creek or something back there? Or
There's a
just...
canal back there, but when in that canal, it's just past those trees. It drains a lot of acres. And
Yeah.
when you have big rains over a 2 or 3 day span of time, it backs out into those
Yeah.
fields. I have seen one year they had cotton there. Cotton was 4 feet tall, and water was above the cotton stalks. But right on down here, there's 200 acres, and this one farm family from Missouri came down here. They were named Robinson, Mr. Eugene, and he had 4 boys: Larry, Terry, Jerry, and Gary. 4 boys, and the oldest was about 18 years old when they came down here, and that was 61 or 62. We got to know them and invited them for dinner and got to be friends, and then I started consulting for them. And this 200 acres down here, Mr. Eugene had bought and cleared in 62 or 63, and he had a lot of land otherwise, and this 200 acres was remote from anything else he had. But the Robinsons were just a wonderful family, but Mr. Eugene, the daddy, was probably 25 years older than I was, but he always called me Mr. Young for some reason. Anyway, he came to me one day. He had cleared this 200 acres. I'm going to show it to you. And he said, Mr. Young, would you be interested in buying that 200 acres of land? And I did not own any land out in this part of the world. All I owned was some up on the ridge. And I said, Mr. Eugene, I just agreed to buy this farm at Fort Necessity, and I just wouldn't be able to do it now. He said, well, I just want to give you a chance. About a week later, he came back, and he said, Mr. Young, would you be interested in buying that land if you could? And I said, yes, sir. If I could, I'd like to buy it. He said, I think I can help you buy it. Now, this was 1968, remember? I can remember every word of that conversation. He said, I think I can help you buy it. He said, I owe the land bank $36,000. You'll have to assume that loan. And he said, and you give me $10,000 in cash, and I'll finance the rest of it, and you can pay me for it in services. And he said, just let me know when you get me paid. I said, I'll take it. I didn't say, well, I got to go discuss this with my wife. I said, I'll take it. I think it was $21,000 that I was going to pay him for in service. And he said, just let me know when you get me paid.
I love it.
Yeah. This is it right here, starting right here. It's a quarter, see that weedy place from there, it's a quarter of a mile wide, and it runs for a mile, 440s, and then you see that little tree, little clumpy tree yonder? There's a 40 acres there, we call that the offset 40. It's 200 acres right here, and I said, I'll take it. And we started farming it, and it's some of the lowest land out here. If you look, you see that field right ahead? It's a little higher elevation than this is. And when you look back toward the highway, that's a little higher. So this place is a little lower elevation than anywhere out here. But we drained it. We first of all had to fix the drainage where it would drain, and then later we fixed it so it would irrigate. But anyway, that's the way. And about I think it was 11 years, I just kept up with my consulting fees. In 11 years, I had him paid, and I said, Mr. Eugene, I believe I got you paid. He said, I'll get you the deed. Now, that was the and I believe, if I remember right, that was the total conversation we had. Nothing else was ever said, no papers drawn up, nothing. I went and assumed that loan, handed him a check for $10,000, and in 10 or 11 years, I said, I believe we got you paid. He said, I'll get you the deed. How many deals do you think like that are going on nowadays?
Not ever.
That's pretty unusual, isn't it? But anyway, a straight mile this way is it. And this is the farm that caused us to start doing stale bed.
Is it?
It's not quite as heavy here, but a little further on the way, it's clay, and it never would be dry enough to plow it in the springtime, but we plowed anyway. And
so you had corn this year. What you gonna have next year?
Corn was this year. We'll probably have beans. It will depend on the price, but we try to rotate beans and corn every other year. We plant most of our turn rows in wheat to keep down the erosion. See what we see.
Yeah.
Came up pretty good. Somebody came up with should see some more going around. But anyway, that's where we started doing that farm caused us to start doing stale bed in 1983. We just couldn't get it planted on time. We could make a pretty decent cotton crop. It could be November picking it when it rains and it's sticky ground. It's just
you just get bogged down in the process.
Murder trying to pick it. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of this year. Our renters had cotton. They got it out. I was just scared to death they wouldn't quite get it now. So where it ends is that little patch there is not part of it. It starts with the rows running different directions. Right there, it runs for a mile yonder way. Now we're going to drive down a gravel turn road at the other end of this field, 1 mile.
Okay.
We didn't start doing stale bed to save money. We did it so we could get a crop planted on time and hopefully make a yield enough. But in the process, it has saved a bunch of money. All that tillage we were doing in the springtime.
You forget how much all that costs.
Costly. It was costly.
So much diesel and bigger tractors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Labor, fuel. You wear out tractors a lot quicker. We don't wear out tractors now. You don't wear out tractors like you used to when you broke every acre every year.
That wheat sure looks pretty on those turn rows.
This was soybeans this year. Now the reason we didn't plow those rows all the way to the end, this is the high end of this field, but if you notice, from about where we quit plowing to this way is slightly downhill.
Yeah.
We lay our irrigation pipe about 10 feet out in that broke land, and some of it will want to drain back this way when you run the water.
Yeah.
So we didn't roll it up here, so that'll hold the water, keep it from the back up on us. It runs, the water runs yonder way.
Keep it from coming back too far on the turn row.
Yeah. Keep the water from running back to the turn row. This is still the farm that I'm talking about, the 420 acres that we bought for $611 an acre. This is the other end of the first farm that I told you about when we were at the other end. It's a mile from here to this side of those woods.
So when you bought this land, is that when you put your shop up here?
A few years later, yeah, we bought this, and then pretty soon we bought the 100 acres on around the road, and we built the shop then. Then we got that piece next to it. Then we got this. Well, no, then we got the 160 acres. I bought 160 acres at auction when the bank went bankrupt in Jackson. The receiver took over, and they had a big auction and auctioned a lot of that property off. And I bought that 160 acre farm at auction. Bought it from the receiver that had taken over the assets of the Federal Land Bank in Jackson. Now this is Sharkey clay here, but it's real mellow. I don't know if I'll get down that road and dig. We will, just to look at it. I've not really looked at it myself. But we've had a lot of big rains out here, but you know, another day or two of sun, you could go and plant that if you want to plant it. But you wouldn't want to think about putting a disc into it and start prepared it. It's prepared right now.
Yeah.
Now this right here, we didn't even cut the stalks. We just ran a helper through it and put some new dirt up on top of the road. And we'll just go in there with a little chopper in the springtime when that stalk is totally right. We'll chop it, knock it off, and plant it. That's all we'll do to it in the spring. But this ground never used to be mellow, but it's really mellow soil, and that's Sharkey clay right there. That's about as clay as it gets. But it's very productive land if you get the water off of it and then put some water back on it. That's the way we put it. You got to drain it first, and then put.
You need the water there when you need the water.
Water when you need it, yeah, and water it and get it off again. Put it on and get it off, yeah. And getting it off is as important as putting it on there. But this place, when we bought it, it was just basically flat, and it had swags and little ridges and swags and little ridges, but it was basically flat. And so we set out to moving dirt and getting it where you could run water.
We're going to get out and look at it here.
Yeah, let's look. I don't think I have a shovel in here. I don't think I have anything to dig with, but I can kick with the foot. And I don't think it'll be muddy up on top of that road. Stop right.
Oh, did it?
Let me put my hand on the shoulder and I'll kick this road. If I kick it with something to prop up, I'll fall. See,
There's a lot of root structure down in there.
That is so unusual. That is, I just love it. I mean, it's just amazing what you can do with this soil when you kind of work at it. I love it. I just love it. See, that's not supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to be able to dig in that gumbo soil. freezing.
It's amazing how that.
Earthworms are probably retreated
Yeah.
for the year. Did you say you saw a picture of Jesse and me and this little red-headed boy?
Well, no,
did you see
Leslie was talking about it.
Oh, okay. Well, we were out digging, and he was 2 at the time. We were digging and finding earthworms. I mean, he was just down there intent looking at it. He got a good picture of it. You're not supposed to be digging that with a stick in this kind of soil.
And not have it just be in all one big huge dirt clod.
Yeah, and sticky.
Yeah.
This is where all this land we're farming out here was 1% organic matter, and it's 3 to 5 now. It's just amazing how it's built up just by doing the stale bed, leaving this residue here.
Yeah.
It's built through the years.
I think
It's
about
taken 35 years to do it, but it will do it.
I try and tell people, you know, those roots go down like this, down into the soil, and then as that plant dies, those channels keep going down in there, helps pull that water right into it.
If you put a disc in it, guess what? There ain't no more channels.
No, you kill the channels.
You leave it.
Yep.
Yeah. And the earthworms are so good. They're so good for the soil. I don't see any here, but most times of the year, you can go back here and dig down.
Yeah, it's just too cold right now.
And you find. I think they must retreat when it gets cold like this.
I think so too. Mr. Ray, I think we need to take a selfie while we're out here.
Oh, okay.
All this soybean trash.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
with
good.
corn cobs from last year's.
Yeah, from
the previous.
Last year, not this year, but last year. Yeah. Well, it was really revolutionary at the time to quit plowing, and most folks said you can't do it. They just said you can't do it. Can't raise cotton without preparing the seed bed in the spring, cultivating it, you know, on and on it goes. No. We thought you could, and sure enough you could.
Hey there. As you can see, I'm still here in Northeast Louisiana. Having had a fantastic visit with Mr. Ray and Miss Dorothy. I hope you got a little bit of a feeling how I went from being a total city girl to being somewhat grounded by the farm. Mr. Ray was the first farmer I ever went out and spent time with on his farm and learned from him directly. He taught me so much about the soils that they were farming and the environment and how he was trying to make it better. Since then, I've been on hundreds, if not thousands, of farms, learning about the environment that they do, learning about the foods they produce, which I love. And Grounded by the Farm is my way of sharing some of those experiences with members of my family who love food as much as I do, some friends, and hopefully lots of strangers will find it just as interesting. I'm talking to farmers who grow lettuce, who grow crawfish, pecans, maybe they produce our hams. And I'm going to be sharing that information here, and I hope you find it as exciting as I do. For me, it's a real sense of discovery, and I hope you feel that as you check out the videos and the photos and the post here. And I certainly hope you enjoy it as you hear those farmers' voices on the podcast. I hope you also find reason to share Grounded by the Farm with your friends and family. That's what got me started on this, and I hope that it's something that you want to join me in. Thanks so much. I'm Janice Person, and I hope to see you here often. Bye.